Hello, wonderful. Sarah K Ramsey here to talk about dating. Dating's tricky after any type of relationship, just being like a human, especially after a toxic relationship. And I know there's tons of questions, tons of fears, tons of when to know, what to do, where to find them, who to find, how to repel the wrong ones, etc., etc., etc. So, I would love to break some of the dating questions down to make dating not so much a nightmare. And one of the things, some of you guys have asked questions and stuff, so you're welcome to type in your questions, and I'll be going back to the questions you guys had posted previously. There's lots of good ones, and but one of the things I want you to think about in your head. This is a different way of thinking about it, but I want you to think about dating, being in the business of dating. Okay, we don't think of dating as a business, but I want you to think about being in the business of dating. Okay, so you are your storefront. You have a brand. You have marketing that hopefully attracts the right people to you and repels the wrong people away from you. You have an ideal client that you hope to work with. Okay. You're like, whoa, okay, where are we going with this? But I think it'll be very helpful, especially if dating isn't working for you right now. If dating isn't working, we need to try something else. If there's a life philosophy I have, it is that. If it's not working, try something else. If it's not working, try something else. If it's not working, try something else. And what we usually do is if it's not working, like we're like, but I really want it to work, which also doesn't work, and it just uses up our energy on the wrong things, on the wrong people, on the wrong situation. So, if you are already in a situation where dating has not worked or isn't working, you need to do something else. So I invite you to try on the idea that dating as a business and being in the business of dating. Okay. So obviously there's things you can do with your storefront. You want a great picture if you decide to do, whether it be on social media, on a dating profile. This is going to sound silly, but typically they said pictures that come kind of up and you're kind of looking. Can you see my, there we go. Pictures like this can obviously make you look a little thinner, not getting all that neck junk in. And people usually want to see somewhat full body shots and headshots. There's a lot of women like nervous about that. I'm like, oh, well, he should love me for who I am or whatever. If you don't have some type of somewhat recent full body shots, they're going to assume the worst. Just FYI. That's not the main thing that this conversation is about, but it is helpful. Having a friend take good pictures of you. Right now, an online presence is so often our first impression, whether you are on a dating profile or not. Okay, and so we used to live in a land where there were no such thing as first impressions. You knew people's daddy, you knew their grandpa, you knew their family name. And unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, because there was a lot of character attached to that. When you know someone for 20 years, you know a lot about them compared to when you know someone for 2 seconds online. Okay, so I don't think it's a better piece of our society. Think about 100 years ago, people wouldn't have been studying how to make a good first impression. They would have been working on a long-term impression through their character. It's a very sad piece of our society, but it is what it is. And so, thinking about a good first impression, knowing, what you want to be. Get your friend to take a picture. Okay, I hate when people try to have bad pictures. Get a friend, take a picture. Okay, that's your storefront, right? It's always fun to try some different looks on or different outfits or different versions of you. It's always fun, but that's a storefront, which is what we think of when we think about our business. But I hope you leave today thinking that's not the most important thing in your business. Okay. So now I want you to think about your business brand. the brand you want to give to the world. And this is from a Gary V marketing strategy. He said, if you've ever, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's built $1 million business after $1 million business after $1 million business. Great business guy. And when I was studying toxic relationships, people who were in the healing space were saying the same things over and over again. You know, feel your feelings. You know, look into your past. What did your mama do to you? Okay. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who are people who are really successful and able to build success for themselves? What is their line of thinking? What are they doing differently? And Gary Vaynerchuk talked about branding and your personal brand. Now, so many of us try to think our brand is love, and that's enough. My brand is being loving. My brand is being caring. My brand is being supportive. If it's not working, stop doing it. And so many of you are in this group and on this journey with me because your kindness was used against you. Because you thought being good was going to protect you. I get it. Been there, lived that. Oh, I just need to be kinder. I need to be more patient. I need to be more gentle. I need to be more of the things I already was, rather than figuring out what holes I was missing. And when you are just nice and caring and loving and just like, I just want to love, I just want to be open, I just want to be authentic, I just want to be vulnerable, I just want to like open myself, like I'm just like love, it's not going to work. Now, some of you are on the opposite side and your brand is shut the door, I'm going to stay in my house and bunker down and stay safe. An attractive brand is not, I've been hanging with my cat for the last 10 years. Okay, I'm going to be very honest with you. You need a different brand. When people see you and their first impression of you, what is their experience of you going to be? Toxic people are amazing at this. They appear charming. They appear interested. They appear like your soulmate. They appear powerful. They appear confident, whatever, because toxic people do come in all shapes and sizes and personalities. Okay, so don't Google, oh, if they are extroverts, they're more likely to be toxic than introverts. Or if they're firemen, they're more likely to be toxic than policemen. No. Okay, do not look at those lists. They are ridiculous. Okay, toxic people come in all shapes and sizes, which is why we keep getting duped. If there was a checklist, a Google checklist, oh, watch out for people who like to bird watch. All bird watchers are toxic. Oh, watch out for people who, play basketball on Tuesdays. Oh, if they play basketball on Tuesdays, that's your sign. Their dating profile says they play basketball on Tuesdays. That's the secret code that they're toxic. And I see so many women looking for that secret code, and so many women giving advice as if there was a secret code. Facebook groups, and I love you guys. I know that we're in a Facebook group right now. You guys are horrible about giving advice to each other, and I know you want to be helpful, and I know you want to be this. And sometimes it's like, I see people giving dating advice who've been dating for 6 weeks. I see a gazillion narcissist coaches and toxic relationship coaches who are not in happy relationships. It'd be like hiring the fattest, nutrition coach in the whole wide world. A nutrition coach is honest because you can kind of see if they're really eating Twinkies every night. Okay? And in the healing space, do you know if your therapist is happily married? Do you know if she's ever had to rebuild her life? Do you know? And I see people, like, oh, I'm a divorce coach. I'm a divorce coach. Oh, great. So you've moved past divorce and you're in a healthy, happy relationship now? No, I'm still dating. I was like, so you teach people how to attract love into their life and attract better people into their life, but you don't have love or into your life? It ticks me off. Okay? Because I do want you to be authentic and I want to keep you safe. Don't take dating advice from people who have not dated in 30 years. Don't take dating advice from people who have been dating for 6 weeks. Don't do it. Figure out within research. I have a master's degree in research. Figure out the source. Who is telling you this information? Do they have a life you want? And do you respect their opinion? And are they living authentically? Nobody's perfect. But I'm guessing you would not look for a fat nutrition coach to help you. If you're wanting a diet coach and they were 100 pounds overweight, that's not who you would hire. And if you're talking about relationship space or, getting out of a narcissistic relationship into a healthy one, and they're not in a relationship, all the flags are red. All the flags are red. Okay? How do I get off onto that? Branding. Okay, so not taking advice from people who you shouldn't take advice from, and then, what you want your brand to be. Being kind and being caring and being helpful are amazing. And I want you to be those things. I want so hard for you to be those things. I don't want you to turn into a hermit or a bitch in hopes of staying safe. And those qualities are very easy to manipulate, and they are qualities toxic people are looking for. We did the Wonderwoman Q&A training right before this, and I asked them to start evaluating their own brand. And I loved when they said, strong and stable. Do you see how much more difficult strong and stable would be to manipulate versus nice? Okay. Now, I love studying other experts. I believe in experts. I've always talked about it all the time, and I address it in my own life. I have, I think, 3 coaches now. One has moved on. So I had, but over the course of this year, I've had 4 coaches. I believe in experts. I believe in experts. And I love male dating coaches and kind of studying what they are saying and studying what they are doing. Because they think differently than we are, right? And within male dating coaches, we talked about how a little bit about your brand wants to deflect the wrong person, but we also want to attract the right person. And male dating coaches talk about the women who stand out are multi-dimensional. They're multifaceted. If you've ever seen my original webinar, I talked about the diamond down method. And a diamond is multifaceted. If you're one-dimensional, you're not as interesting and intriguing as being two-dimensional. And if you're two-dimensional, you're not as interesting and intriguing as three-dimensional and four-dimensional and five-dimensional. So thinking about the different aspects of your personality, thinking about your different strength areas, hardworking mama is not going to be as attractive as hardworking mama who's adventurous, fun, has a great sense of humor, volunteers, loves to study things other than narcissism. And I do want to say, when you think about your brand, I hope you can say hobbies that are more than studying narcissism. I don't want your brand to be she who needs therapy. Whoa, she was cute, but man, she got a whole lot of mess going on. That would be a really good sign you were not ready to date. And I hope as you parent, as you get hired, as you move up in your career, as you whatever, that is not the brand you want to portray to the world. I'm just really focused on my healing. And that's okay. But you can be focused on learning things about yourself and focused on being a better person and focused on spiritual growth without being just focusing in on healing. It's a place to visit and a great place to visit, not the place you want to live forever. There are lots of people who are saying healing is a lifelong journey. Scars last forever. The wounds are forever. I hate those things. Because think about your brand. Going into that first day, what do you like to do? Well, I really like to research personality disorders, study sociopaths, narcissists. I mean, can you like, whoa, or like, or even like, what happened in your past relationship? Oh, I just got this string of narcissistic behavior, right? The impression of you is, if you're in the business of dating, I think you are really going to be repelling people from you. I know you are. And I know after a toxic relationship, you can feel crazy. I don't want your brand to come across as crazy. I want you to do the healing work, and then I want you to move past the healing work and back into your life. Okay. So what do you want your brand to be? In my phone, I have my brand, and it's peace, passion, power, and presence. And in the Wonder Swimming group today, a girl named Chrissy added she added purpose behind it. Yes, doing things on purpose, which definitely aligns with me. I just got some of your questions. I want to be a person of peace, and I want to have peace in my life and be a peaceful place for others, especially my children. I want my children to experience the parenting brand, number one, is peace. I want to be the most peaceful place in their own life. And those of you who are like, oh, I've got Disneyland dad, he's taking them to this, and he's taking them to this, and, creating all these amazing experiences, and I can't compete. Toxic people can't compete either. If you are the most peaceful, not being a pushover, true peace, being a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper, and being at peace within your own soul, that is a brand of parenting that is hard to compete with. Disneyland doesn't do it. People don't go home to Disneyland. They come home to peace. Okay? So when you think about what brand, peace, I want to be passionate. I want people to know I'm excited about what I do and who I am and what's going on in my life. Okay? Peace, passion, power. I want people to know that I'm not easily taken advantage of. I want to stop giving my power away to others. I want to help others, but I want to help them save themselves, not help them need me to save them. Drastic difference. Okay? And presence. I want to be a person of presence. For a long time, I would speak and people did not have ears to hear in a situation in my life, and I just kept talking and talking and talking and trying. It was exhausting. And now, when I speak, not everywhere, but people listen, and in different situations, as I've climbed the ladder in my own life and my own profession and my own success, people keep listening. And I want to be a person of presence where they listen. Okay? Do you see how much, I'm also fun and caring and, adventurous and some of those things. But do you see how that person and that brand would be more difficult to manipulate and more interesting? It's more interesting. Could I lead with, oh yeah, I love to study narcissism all the time? Sure. Would that be the bringing in the right customers within the brand of the business of dating? No, it would not. Okay. Oh, yeah, Melissa's adding comments. That's awesome. And I apologize if any else you were writing notes. Sometimes when I'm back on my computer, it's tricky. You're welcome to ask questions about this. So within the business of dating, we talked about our brand. We talked about our storefront. Okay. And then I want you to think about this in terms of sales. Everyone, let's say your business is a pizza shop. Everyone who walks into your door is not going to love pizza. My husband doesn't really like pizza. It's one of the worst things about him. He's so great, but he should eat more pizza. And then when he wants pizza, it's like loaded with like pepperoni and meat, and I love pineapple on pizza. So we have a hard time eating pizza and sushi together. He's allergic to crab, so like the only two things we can't eat together because we love our little foodie adventures. But if you run a pizza business, everybody's not going to love pizza, and that's okay. There are going to be customers who are better tippers than others. There are going to be customers who clean up after themselves better than others. There's going to be customers who treat their wait staff better than others. Treat your wait staff, not their wait staff. Treat your wait staff. Everybody who walks in the door is not going to be an ideal client. Everybody who walks in your door is not going to be toxic, okay? And toxic people are on a spectrum. Some are worse than others. And they're all not going to be right for you. I don't want you to get stuck in the black and white thinking of like toxic, horrible, jerk, ready to ruin my life, or Mr. Wonderful and right for me. When you own a pizza shop, somebody's going to be your favorite customer. They're going to tell you how great your pizza is. They're going to always show up. They're going to be consistent. But not everybody who walks in the door is going to be the perfect customer. And when you get that and accept that and not try to force every person to walk in the door to be the ideal customer, you will be much happier. And I want you to hear this as loudly and clearly as I can say it. The best way to never find Mr. Right is to spend time with Mr. Wrong. The best way to never find Mr. Right is to spend your time with Mr. Wrong. Well, I mean, I'm not that attracted to him, but I'm probably fine. Yeah, sure, I'll go on dates with him. Yeah, I'll keep doing that. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, my ex-boyfriend of like 3 years, I gave him 3 years of my life, and then, he didn't ever want to commit to me and stuff, but he came back around, so Saturday, I'm thinking about hanging out with him. I'm like, oh, okay. Or, oh, well, I'm really thinking he hadn't changed in 15 years, but I'm thinking year 16 is really it for us. I know why you want to give them another chance, and I understand that it feels easier to love the one you're with. That old phrase, love the one you're with. And I ask the question, how has it worked for you? My guess is it has not worked for you. The best way to never find Mr. Right is to spend time with Mr. Wrong. And it's kind of like a deck of cards, when you're thinking about the sales of your dating business. When you flip through a deck of cards, you never know what you're going to get. There's going to be a 2, there's going to be a 5, there's going to be an 8, there's going to be a king, there's going to be an ace. And your job is to flip over cards. And what I see women do, oh, that 9. Yeah, I know he's not a king or ace, but I've got that 9 in my hand. So I'll just see if maybe that 9, I can work on him a little bit and, turn him into a king. Has it worked? Have you successfully been able to transform a fixer-upper into a fabulous human who loved you? If so, please give me your card. I would love to talk to you. Now, you will hear these stories. There was a story recently. This girl, and he apparently had been in prison when he was younger, and they had this wonderful life and this wonderful story, and I was like, I wonder if that's true. That's hardly ever true, but I wonder if it's true in her case. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, he cheated on her multiple times. I found out the rest of the story. He cheated on her multiple times, anger, all that kind of stuff. There's countless stories I can tell you over and over and over again. We love to make it appear that there was a happy ending so we can feel better about the choices that we made. But holding on to Mr. Wrong and hoping he turns into Mr. Right. I say it all the time. If you are wrestling with a crocodile, hoping you can force him into becoming a bunny, a little snuggle bunny, If that has worked for you and you're really good at transforming crocodiles into bunny rabbits, that's great. If you have done it over and over again, and insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping to get different results, I know it's hard. I don't mean to be so detached from the situation to not recognize the feelings behind it. The fear of being alone, the feelings of hopelessness, the feelings of, oh my gosh, I just keep attracting the same people. Will it ever be right for me? I don't want to get you just think, I want to be strategic in what I say. And I don't want to ever feel like I'm getting so far away from you and your pain and your heart that you don't think I understand why. This is a struggle. I do know why. It's a struggle I have felt. I remember saying, I've got a lot of other good things going for me. I can be happy here, and I've got this, and I've got that. So I just need to give up on the idea of love, okay? Because when someone's asked about me feeling well loved or being well loved, or come on, you'll have happiness in the future, you'll have love in the future, I remember saying, it's like you're asking me to jump to the moon. I almost want to tear up now as I'm saying it, as I feel those words in I feel that in my body again. It sucks. It sucks. It's lonely. And the resiliency needed for building a dating business, the resiliency needing for flipping over those cards, the resiliency needed for acting in integrity toward yourself and saying that's not the right card for me, that's not Mr. Right, I can't turn crocodiles into bunnies, is a lot of inner strength and a lot of work. And I understand that, and I understand it's not fun work sometimes. But it is the path to get what you want and to get where you want. And holding on to the wrong people for a longer amount of time does not make the process faster, quicker, easier, or better. So, great storefront, great branding. Think about 3 or 4 words that you want to be your impression, and then your communication can focus on those words. If there was a dating profile or a social media profile, the little pictures you could put on your thing. It's if somebody, you're welcome to go look at mine, what would my impression be? What would your impression of me be? I hope it's a purposeful impression, and if it's not, you can give me feedback. I'll work on it. But maybe it's you hiking, maybe it's you playing with your kids, maybe it's you being adventurous, maybe it's a funny joke. Okay, does your storefront, your physical storefront, your social media storefront match your brand, or does your brand look lonely? We want the ideal clients. We also have to recognize not everybody who walks through the door is going to be our very best customer. And doesn't mean something is wrong with our pizza, right? I have a friend who's a chef who's if you've ever heard Blackberry Farms, it's where Carrie Underwood got married. Very high-end, so he has a very high-end pizza shop, which is funny to even say it's a pizza shop. He lived for years in Italy, and they go to Italy and pick their own olives for the olive oil pizza shop. So it's pretty different than just a beer and pizza joint. It's a far cry from that. But they have a pizza business, and so that's probably the easiest analogy in my head. And great pizza, so good, so good, so good. But within that analogy, everybody who walks through the door is not going to be their ideal customer. And it's not because their pizza isn't amazing. It's not because he's not an amazing chef. And if you have not been well loved, it's not necessarily that you are unlovable. It's not that you're unlovable. It's that you've chosen people who are not good at loving. And you held on to them, hoping they'd change, hoping you could be so lovable they would be better at loving. And it hasn't worked. And moving forward, we're going to try something else. Okay. What else was I going to say? Oh, people always ask, where do you meet new people? Where do all the good people live and the nice people live? And so I'm going to tell you. Okay. Everyone who goes to the coffee shop on Thursdays from 11 to 1, it's where all the nice guys live. And there's a code and a club. And they all, there's a whole, you haven't found it yet, but there's this whole checklist, and the U.S. government and the world government has approved all these men. They've had to do very strategic background checks, very strategic checklists, and so it's not at Starbucks. We want locally owned coffee shops, and every 11 to 1. That's where all the good guys live. And so if you go from 11 to 1 and but you have to buy strawberry frappuccinos, you can't buy coffee because then that's the code that you're a good girl. There's been this whole secret code that you probably don't know about. And I hope you know how ridiculous that is and how ridiculous I'm being. But I want a little bit, I want you to think about how ridiculous the question is. Okay? There are toxic people in bars and toxic people with Bibles. There are toxic firemen and toxic lawyers and toxic school teachers and toxic people who volunteer and donate lots of money to charity. And the work that we don't want to do is learning to trust ourselves and to filter through, flip those cards. We want there to be a secret app or a secret society or a secret whatever that somebody filters through all those with us. Now, within the business of dating, the more cards you have to flick through, the more likely you are to find a card that you like. Male dating coaches talk about this. Female dating coaches do not talk about this. Male dating coaches talk about this, and they will say, if there's like 100 women that you start a conversation with, then, it narrows down to 30 women, then it narrows down to, 20 women, then it narrows down to 5 women, and out of those 5 women, there might be 3 who are really good fits for you and that you could have a really long-term relationship with. Guys talk in those terms. We don't, because it feels ugly. It feels like we're using people. It's weird to think about the business as dating or sales or anything else. Yet I say we probably need a new approach. Right? We need to brush up our storefront, brush up our brand, and commit to the resiliency of the sales process. I had read a book when I was dating. I don't remember the name of the book, but I do remember the saying, if you want to meet someone, then you should try to meet 7 to 10 new people a day. A day. I was not doing it online at that time. A day. 7 to 10 people a day. And I was like, what is it supposed to mean 7 to 10 people a day? And it sounds frustrating. It sounds exhausting. But you never know when you meet these new people and don't go into it. This is a very important part too. Go into it with the question, what am I going to learn about myself? And what am I going to learn about this person? Not, is this going to be my baby daddy? Is this going to be the man who wipes my butt when I'm 85 and I'm dying? Is this going to be my soulmate? That is so much pressure to put into a situation. What am I going to learn about myself, and what can I learn about them? And you can learn about yourself from like horrible fits, and you can learn about yourself from great fits. You can learn about people from horrible fits and learn about people from great fits, right? There's spend less time on great fit or bad fits. Spend more time on great fits. Work on your brand so that it's strength. It's not just like, oh, I just love and I'm ready to like give up everything. Sure, I can move to Utah, or sure, that sounds a little bit silly, but don't give up all your power on that first date, that first meeting. And if you need to explain your past, I would not use words like narcissism and sociopath. They ask why, if you're divorced and they ask why, or they ask why your last relationship broke up. If this is true, I would love to see you use the language of I was with a high conflict personality. That's Bill Eddy's language from the 5 types of people who will ruin your life. I think it's so fabulous and wonderful. Oh, my ex was a narcissist. He was such a jerk. Okay, probably not the brand you want to come across. That brand seems bitter. If you like, oh, well then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, your brand seems like you haven't done the healing work yet, that you're not ready to date. But if your brand is, I was with a high conflict personality for far too many years and decided that wasn't the future I was going to create for myself. Whoa! Your brand is strong. Your language is clear. And if you need to give 3 examples, what do you mean high conflict personality? Okay, if you need to give 3 examples of that, don't pick the very, very worst ones. But if you need to give 3 examples of that, you can. And that's authentic, it's true, it's lying, and it's not lying, and it's staying on brand. So I think that covered a lot of things I wanted to cover. What questions do you have? What questions do you guys have? Type it in the chat. I'm going back and looking at some of my questions that people have asked in the Wonderwoman group. We talk about this quite a bit. Anybody have any questions about dating? And how to know you are ready? I want you to think about the balance of if you're ready or not. Many of you have waited too long and you're afraid to get back in. And some of you are hoping to stop the quiet in your head and the unrest in your life with a new relationship. Okay? We all need balance. We all need balance. We all need balance. We all need balance. And figuring out what the balance is for you. I think I talked about who to take advice from. Your girlfriend who's been married for 45 years, probably not the best person, you need to get out there. She doesn't know. The person who, ooh, yeah. I also want to see you, I asked this question in the Wonderwoman group, and I asked what you get excited about, what you're excited about. And if you don't have anything in life that you are excited about, it's probably not time to date. And there are levels of emotion, and they call it levels of consciousness. It's from a book called Letting Go. And at the very, very bottom of our emotional level is depression, despair. And then as we move up, apathy would be at the bottom. There's no power to that. And then as we move up, like anger can be, higher on the level of consciousness. Okay, because anger creates more movement and has more power and has more passion than apathy. Obviously, we don't want to stay at anger. We want to keep going up into excitement, into joy, into hope, into love. But if you are in still in the levels of being apathetic, not really care what's going to happen to you, needing to distract yourself constantly, that's probably not the brand you want to bring into dating. Because even if you found someone, once you did the healing work and you felt better, you would probably outgrow them very, very quickly. But you're also probably not attracting the person you want anyway. If on a date somebody can't say, what are you excited about? You don't have an answer to that question? I would figure out the answer to that question before you started dating. Who are you? What is your brand? Do you align with your own integrity? Well, I just really like to take care of other people. Do you see how you can end up in a toxic relationship? Well, I just really want to be just really want to love. I'm really good at loving. Do you see how you can get taken advantage of in that? Or it just seems like you don't really know who you are or have a lot going on, which is not going to make you attractive to the right person. You want to have something you're excited about. You want to have something to talk about other than studying narcissism or Netflix, which is a little trickier during COVID. And I understand that, but be aware of that. Oh, I forgot to talk about the dating template. Within a dating template, okay, what I want you guys to think about is taking the wobble out of dating. When I work with clients and they're like, oh, Sarah, dating just seems so exhausting, and it just takes up so much of my energy, and I'm trying to build a business, I'm trying to work, I'm trying to this. It's like, okay, well, what do you feel like takes up a lot of energy? Is it the actual dates? What is it for you that takes up a lot of energy? And they usually say it's figuring out what to wear, what to do, and what to say. Okay. Can you outsource the problem of figuring out if someone is toxic or not? No. Can you come up with a template to take out the confusion in your head about what to wear and what to say? Yes. I would have 5 to 10 outfits. Winter, summer, hopefully you'll find Mr. Wonderful next week and you won't have to worry about all this, but or Mrs. Wonderful. The winter, summer, I know these outfits look good on me. Here's, these are my, I know there's a book about an American woman who lived in France. Hello to all my French ladies on here. And they said that French women have a uniform. They have a nice slacks, nice shirts, nice whatever. And they don't go, oh, should I wear this? Like Americans have so many clothes and so many options, and they're not as quality as people in France would pay for their clothes. When I was in France last year, I can attest to the prices of clothing compared to American clothing. Okay, so when you get some quality dating uniforms, oh, I already know I look good in that. So it's already hung up, it's already washed, I'm saving it for that occasion, so I'm not scrambling at the last minute. What am I going to wear? What am I going to do? Okay, it's already ready. Okay. When I was in the Mrs. Tennessee pageant, I had my pageant uniforms already set up. I wasn't running around the day before, oh, I didn't get earrings, right? It was already set up. I prepped, so I could think about other things other than what I was going to wear. It's a horrible thing to lose your brain energy on. Okay. What are you going to say? Okay, I want you to think about that question. What are you excited about? What makes you come alive? Do you have any passion projects you're working on? I don't care if it's knitting. I don't care what the passion project is. You need to have an answer. Hard working mama cannot be your answer. It cannot be the only brand you're putting to the table. I used to be this. I used to be this. I don't want that to be your brand either. I don't want you to miss out. I don't want the toxic person to steal anything else from you. I don't want you to be someone who used to be happy, who used to be sunshine, who used to be light, who used to be life. That's not the version of you want to bring into dating. It's not going to attract the person you want. Can you imagine if you ask someone with, a guy, we kind of take the pressure off ourselves because it's like, oh, I went through this. I'm going to take the pressure off myself, but I'm going to keep the pressure on him, which is also not fair. Okay. So, if you ask a guy, what's he excited about? Well, not much. I'm just still really healing from my past relationship. You'd be like, woo! Or even scarier, you'd be like, oh, good, I can help you with that. Do not do that. Okay? Do not do that. Do not do that. If you want to change a man, he needs to be under 1 year old and not potty trained. It has not worked. Don't try it again. Okay? When people tell you who they are, believe them, or you will be in this group 20 years from now in another situation. Okay? You can imagine if you asked someone what they were interested in and they didn't have an answer for you, how your impression would be of them. Don't let that be their impression of you. Okay? Also, how much should I lead? How much should I this? How much should I say? Whatever that may be. There's a couple of calls or a couple of texts that people have asked me about this question. I'm pulling them up now. And I have a client, and she's always like, well, I just want to let him lead. I just want to let him lead. And I was like, like sending all the love and hearts, but it feels like you're wanting him to take all the vulnerability of the relationship so you don't have to. And toxic men who are trying to get something out of you are going to be more assertive. They want to live with you. They want you to pay their bills. They want you to control you. They want you for their image. They want you to be their mama. They're going to be more assertive because they're going to be more needy. If it hasn't worked, stop doing it. You know it has not worked in the past. Is it going to feel different? Yeah, it's going to feel different. Because they're not trying to use you or manipulate you or love bomb you. You don't want it to feel the same. Does that mean you have to give up passion and excitement? No. True love and true relationship feels like a soft place to land in an evening with your best friend versus the fieriness and torture, just fiery torture, games, the toxic relationship, which can feel very, you feel very drawn to them. Oh, I need to save them. I need to help them. I need to change me. It's like very, very heightened. And that's not what you want to feel. And nicer guys are not needing that drama. They're probably going to take a little bit longer. Give them some grace. Be kind. If they reach out to you, it's okay for you to reach out to them. When she's saying, Sarah, I just want them to lead, what she's saying is, Sarah, how can they be vulnerable so I don't have to be? It's not fair to them, right? So you want a back and forth, lean in, lean out. I asked my husband on date 3, right? I let him do the work of the first 2, and then I wanted it to be a partnership. And it became, I text you sometimes, you text me sometimes. Now, I don't want it to be a situation where you're doing all the texting, you're doing all the leaning in. You're like, oh, let me help you. Oh, let me take care of you. Oh, I can fix that for you. Oh, I can this. That neediness is not a good brand for you. I heard a joke recently from the book called Character Disturbances, and it said 2 social workers got robbed. And they got robbed, and they started chasing after the robber, not because they wanted their money back, and they were screaming after him, hey, we can help you change, we can help you be better, we can help you. It's a horrible joke, right? But it's something we've all done. They treat us horribly, and we think, oh, we can fix it, we can help you, we can help you with that. Don't go into dating with that impression. Take turns. Take turns. Very simple. Just take turns, and don't get in your head about the excuse of leaving. Also, this is the question I was looking for. And Melissa, there may be some other questions in that other group that people want to ask. I couldn't find those, but if you're going to post those, the having male friends. Sometimes people get really nervous about like going on dates and making friends, as if somehow that's the waste of time I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about that, because guy friends usually have guys they know. And if you're not a match for them, you're not the perfect person for them, their friend may be. And if you don't learn how to have male friends, I can see why it would be more difficult for you to interact with males on dates. Then you just add sex, and it's just confusing. Okay. When you think about that process and think about having male friendships, right? Common interests, commonalities, common jokes. Don't be afraid to be friends with males. If you're learning how to play the cello, you would practice the cello before you had your performance. And if your performance is these dates, your performance is some of these things, you want to practice cello in the confines of your room where there's less pressure. You can get to know guys, get to know male psyche, get to know what it's like to have a conversation with a guy without the pressure of getting naked in front of the guy. Okay, take off the pressure of yourself so you can just figure out what it's like to be around a guy who's not toxic, who's not yelling at you, who you're not always trying to fix, who you're not always trying to change. Okay, great scenario. Any other questions? The sex thing, when do you have sex, is very personal. I don't think anyone can answer that for you. I would not use sex to hook a man. I think that would be a very bad strategy that many women try to use. But other than that, it's a real personal question. Have sex because you feel good about that and make that decision on purpose, not because you're hoping to like you or you're hoping to, you know, prove you're better than the other girl that's playing into toxic people's hands. Hi, anybody else have anything? This is a great training. I hope you loved it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you develop your brand so you can become toxic person proof, so you can find love and success after a toxic relationship and not go through this hell again. There are options for you that do not involve just locking down and staying at your home and never finding yourself and never finding your passion. So figure out what you want your storefront to be, figure out what you want your brand to be, figure out how to create resiliency in your own life to go through those cards, and I hope you have a fabulous day. If you want any more information about the Wondrous Woman program and how to reconnect with what's right with you, become toxic person proof, and design a life you're excited about living, we have multiple, sometimes people have private calls with me, and sometimes people have, we have group coaching where it's like this, except you get to unmute and ask questions in the confines of a safe space. It's a wonderful group. Check out, don't take my word for it, because people say things all the time. Go to sarahkramsey.com/reviews. There's video testimonials as well as screenshots of women who have said, not that I'm great. That's very nice, and I appreciate that when people say, oh, Sarah, you're great. What I want them to say, and I almost like tear up when I say it, is, oh my gosh, Sarah, I applied this to my life, and now my life is great. That's why I get up in the morning. That's my passion. That's my purpose. That's my power. That keeps me going in what is a bit of a difficult niche. I fight toxic tigers all day long. Not in my own life, but in yours, and teach you how to come out victorious. Because the best revenge is a life well lived. So if you want any information about that, you can put in the comments or reach out to me. We'd love to hop on a phone with you and see if it's a good fit for you. And I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. And I hope you learn to get through healing and get to growing. Have a great day.